Halloween. Taliban.
Hey.
Yeah. Jumpin'. Them boys up to something.
Whoa.
They just spent like 2 or 3 weeks out the country.
Whoa.
Them boys up to something. They just not just bluffing.
Hey.
You don't have to call. I hear my dance like Usher. Ooh. I just found my tempo like on DJ Mustard.
Woo.
I hit that Ginobili with my left hand on like
whoa.
Lobster and Saliva.
Good morning. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with this story for today, aka the best jump man to ever do it. So we're just going to read through these. We're gonna stop and pause for questions, comments, concerns. If you do feel like you need to email a teacher about anything that concerns the work for today, please do not hesitate in doing so. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into this. So Michael Jordan, a profile in failure. Despite being the best basketball player and one of the best athletes of all time, success was not always a slam dunk for the jump man. Okay, and this story is by Jeff Steibel himself. So of course, in our common lit packets, prior to jumping into the text, we want to read the background information. So let's go to read about this text real quick. Jeff Steibel is a brain scientist, author, and businessman. With his partner Kobe Bryant, he founded Bryant Steibel, who supports others starting new businesses. Why is there a mosquito in my house? Sorry, y'all. In this text, Steibel discusses Michael Jordan's failures. As you read, pause to answer the questions beside the text, okay? And a couple words we're going to be looking at within this text is apply, despite, distinguish, inspire, and relentless. Okay? Okay, as we go through, we will be reading the questions together, and then we'll take time to stop and pause. Okay? I want to zoom in on this text for y'all so y'all can see. Okay. All right, so here we go. Michael Jordan needs no introduction. Something of a legend for turning failure into success, he is the author of the longest quote on my company's failure wall, which was tricky to paint but worth the extra effort. I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and miss. I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. Most of us don't fail or succeed in the glare of a national spotlight, much less do it thousands of times with analysts endlessly critiquing every move. Perhaps that's why they love sports. People love sports. They provide a black and white analogy for the gray backdrop of life. The ball is in or it's out. The basket is made or missed. The game is won or lost. Watching our favorite stars pull through when the chips are down inspires us to do the same in our own lives. And no one has inspired more sports fans, young and old alike, than Michael Jordan. Okay, so we're gonna pause here because that is paragraph 3. Let's go ahead and answer this question here. What does the quote suggest about why Michael Jordan has been so successful? So what does this quote here suggest about Michael Jordan being successful? Okay. My dog's like hacking. Okay. You can go ahead and pause the video now so we can, you can have an opportunity to write down your answer and then unpause when you're ready to move on. So this section is the independent reading. However, I'm also going to read it as well, just for giggles. Okay. The story of Michael Jordan not making his high school team has been told and retold, but continues to inspire with each retelling. In 1978, Michael Jordan tried out for the varsity basketball team at Laney High School. When the list was posted, Jordan's name wasn't on it. Instead, he was asked to play on the junior varsity team. Are y'all kidding me? That's crazy. The reasoning behind the choice wasn't that Jordan didn't have enough talent or hadn't already distinguished himself as an outstanding basketball player. Rather, it came down to seniority size and a strategic decision. The varsity team had already had 11 seniors and 3 juniors. That left space for only one more player, and the coaches chose another sophomore, Jordan's friend Leroy Smith. Smith was not as good as Jordan, but he added size to the team as he was 6'6" compared to Jordan's diminutive 5'10". What's more, the coaches that knew that if Jordan had been chosen for the varsity team, he would play only when needed as a substitute for the more senior or varsity players. On the junior varsity team, he would get more playing time and a chance to truly develop. Okay. Also, we see down here, just a quick reminder, whenever we see a number next to a word, it is a footnote. Okay, so it lets us know like a deeper meaning of the word beyond the text. So critique, obviously a verb to examine carefully or call out mistakes or errors. Analogy, we know what an analogy is. It's a noun, and then it's a comparison between two things. Let's look and see what that third. Oh, when the chips are down, just an idiom. And it obviously means when in a difficult or dangerous situation, like when the chips are down. And then varsity is an adjective, the first string team in a particular sport or at a particular school. So I know, I'm not sure if they have it in middle school, but I know in high school there's JV and then varsity, and typically the younger kids play on JV and the older kids play on varsity, depending on obviously your skill level as well. Okay, let's keep it moving through paragraph 6. So let me see if we need a pause. Nope. Okay. It was a perfectly logical choice for the coaches to assign Jordan to the junior varsity team for his sophomore year. But 15-year-old Jordan was devastated when the list was posted without his name. In his mind, it was the ultimate defeat, the ultimate failure. I went to my room and I closed the door and I cried. For a while, I couldn't stop. Even though there was no one else at home at the time, I kept the door shut. It was important to me that no one hear me or see me. Jordan was heartbroken and ready to give up the sport altogether until his mother convinced him otherwise. After picking himself up off the floor, Jordan did what champions do. He let his failure and disappointment drive him to be better. He played on the junior varsity team and he worked himself to the limit. Whenever I was working out and got tired and figured out how to stop, I closed my eyes to see that list in the locker room without my name on it. And that usually got me going again. All right, here we go. It's going good. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and pause here to answer these two questions. So the first question states, how did Jordan react to the results of the tryouts at first? So what was his initial reaction to the tryouts? Remember when he was like, oh yeah, there was this list and my name wasn't on it. What was his reaction? Was he like, oh yeah, my name is on the list, I'm hyped? Or was he more upset about it? So go ahead and answer that question there. Okay, and then right below it says find evidence, because if you don't have the evidence, you ain't got nothing for me. Okay, so underline two details that show how Jordan's failure affected the way he played on the junior varsity team. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video now and answer those questions before we get back. Maya, I need you to chill, ma'am. Okay. No. So we are now into the partner reading. It became a pattern throughout Jordan's life that a disappointment or setback was resulted in a redoubling of effort. High school rival player Kenny Gatson, who led his team to beat Jordan's team for the high school state championship, put it this way: you got to understand what fuels that guy, what makes him great. For most people, the pain of loss is temporary. Jordan took that loss and held on to it. It's a part of what made him. For most people, public failure becomes public humiliation, and that leads to retreat. Fear of public speaking is a good example. Few people are psychologically afraid of speaking their mind, and even fewer have physical speech impediments, preventing them from doing so. Yet glossophobia, the technical term for speech anxiety, is consistently ranked among the most prevalent mental disorders with a repute 75% of the world's population experiencing some degree of anxiety around public speaking. Our fears have little to do with speaking, of course, and far more to do with the perceived impact and reaction that our audience may have. But for Jordan and elite performers like him, the fear of failure and public ridicule is transformed into a drive for success. The pattern of defeat followed by success would follow Jordan to the University of North Carolina and later to the NBA. His relentless drive would lead him to break numerous records and become the most decorated player in the history of the NBA. What's more, he's credited with dramatically increasing the popularity of basketball both in the United States and internationally, and inspiring the next generation of basketball players, including LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant. You can't think of the word champion without thinking of Michael Jordan, and there's no better proof that failure is simply a stepping stone to success. Yes. Okay, let's see. We've already got some questions here waiting on us. I don't know how this keeps going back, but it does. Okay, so let's look at these questions real quick. So how do Michael Jordan and other elite performers, I know y'all got y'all LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and Kevin Durant and all that, okay? However, how do Michael Jordan and other elite performers view failure differently from most people? Okay, remember we talked about his perspective and how he thinks about failure. What was that? Okay, and then in paragraph 10, of course, we're looking for evidence. Okay, underline at least 2 lasting effects of Michael Jordan's relentless drive in basketball. Okay, so what effects did his relentless drive, okay, from basketball have upon him? All right, you can go ahead and pause the video now to make sure you get those questions answered. Here we go with the footnotes again. So number 5 is referring to this statement up here. It became a pattern throughout Jordan's life that a disappointment or setback resulted in a redoubling of effort. Redoubling of effort is explained here, and it says increasing your efforts as you try to do something. Okay. Humiliation, a noun, a feeling of great embarrassment when one looks weak or silly. Okay. Impediment, a physical problem that makes speaking difficult. Prevalent, it's an adjective, excuse me, common for a certain time, place, or group of people. Okay. Elite, it's an adjective, belonging to a group who have power and influence because of money, knowledge, or special skills. And then 10, let's see what that refers to. His relentless drive would lead him to break numerous records and become the most decorated player. Now, when they say decorated here, it's not necessarily, oh, you're decorating your house, it looks cute. Miss A's classroom is decorated, that's cute. It's decorated as in the one who has received the most honors and awards, trophies, etc., etc. Okay? All right, let's get through this. What time am I at? Let me see. Okay. All right. Michael Jordan faced another formidable challenge decades later when he became the owner of the NBA basketball franchise, the Charlotte Bobcats. Jordan had been a minority owner since 2006, but bought the majority stake from Bob Johnson in 2010. At the time, the business was hemorrhaging, so Jordan used his own money to cover the significant operating losses the team was experiencing. Sorry, y'all. The first season was lackluster, but things got worse. In the 2011 to 2012 season, the team earned a mere 7 wins alongside 59 losses, the worst record of any team ever in the history of the NBA. In addition, okay, or maybe because of their disastrous record, the Bobcats had poor community support. The Bobcats brand was synonymous with disappointment. Despite having one of the best basketball brands of all time at the helm, Michael Jordan himself. But after the 2012 to 2013 season came to a close, Jordan started to turn things around. First, he brought in former Lakers assistant coach Steve Clifford to replace Mike Dunlap. And a change every bit as important as a new coach, Jordan agreed to remove himself from the process of managing the team's operations. That takes a lot. Instead, Jordan focused on what Jordan can do better than anyone else, revitalizing the brand. I'm reading so choppy today. I'm sorry, y'all. Anyway, he applied for and received permission to change the team name to the Charlotte Hornets. Jordan himself became more involved in community events and forged a connection between the team and the city. The changes paid off. The team finished the 2013 to 2014 season with a winning record of 43-39, the second best year in the history of the franchise. They even made it to the playoffs, y'all! At the same time, ticket and merchandise sales skyrocketed and public opinion improved dramatically. The team was well on its way to making both a comeback and a profit. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and look at these questions right here to the side. So these questions are specifically for paragraph 14 through 16. Actually, we missed quite a bit. Okay, so paragraph 11, it's a think and share. Okay, obviously you're still going to be writing down your answers though within this space. So when Jordan bought the Charlotte Bobcats, how were they doing as a business? Okay, so how were they doing before he got there? Then, of course, if you ain't got no evidence, you ain't got nothing for me! So you're going to underline 2 of Michael Jordan's failures as the new owner of the Bobcats. So where did he fail, right? And then you're going to, as these questions say, these are the paragraphs that you're going to be looking at to find your answer, okay? And paragraphs 14 to 16